Welcome to the Two Literal Podcast, where we're talking all things fantasy, romantasy, romance, and dark romance books. It could be the latest releases, timeless classics, book news, and anything in between. So grab a drink, some snacks, maybe a book, and if we're live, a phone to call in, because Two Literal is on.
Welcome back to the Two Literal Podcast. I'm Tashee.
And I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Ricki.
We invited Jazz to participate in the podcast today because she has never read this series before. Mm-hmm. And Ricki and I both have, and we have very strong opinions. So we thought it'd be cool to include somebody who doesn't have those same opinions and just kind of see where they're at. Ricki, as per usual, what are you reading right now?
Well, I did start Goldfinch by Raven Kennedy. That one, I think I'm almost like 50% through. So yeah.
What? I'm not even that far.
I told you I was going to do better.
I think I'm like on chapter 8.
Yeah. Maybe? But you finished a one that just came. It just came out this week.
I actually am reading Never Keep by the sisters, so Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. That is what I'm reading right now. Well, actually, I finished it, and now I'm reading Goldfinch. So I'm actually catching up with that one. And you said you're like 50% through this one?
Yes, but now this is who you just met, right?
Yeah, I met her Thursday, but this is like my second time this year meeting her. So at this point, we have an established friendship. It's no longer meeting, we're friends now.
Right.
And the first time we met, we had the same shirt on. I tried to do that again, but I guess I wasn't thinking. It didn't come out the same. But you know, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm probably 50% done with this. So
okay, I'm gonna have to catch up. Are you reading anything besides Zodiac Academy?
Not right now. No.
Okay. All right. So I guess we can kind of jump in. How do you feel like this was different than Ruthless Boys? First you, then Ricki. That way she's not influencing your answers.
Well, okay. So Ruthless Boys, it just started out like already in the Fae world. Everybody we already knew like what was going on, but this time like it started from the beginning, like how it started, who everybody is, what Fae are, everything like that.
It felt like you were being introduced instead of like the rules were already set up.
Yeah,
I can feel that. What about you? How do you feel like it's different from Ruthless Boys, Ricki?
I have to agree because I feel like this book, there was a lot of world building, and you have to remember that these were actually written before Ruthless Boys. So maybe by the time she got to that series, she felt like everybody was already introduced. I'm not really sure, but it started out a lot slower. And for that reason, I feel like it loses a lot of its audience sometimes if people don't like stick it out, because a lot of the action doesn't happen until like the very end of the book, even though it's alluding to it. I feel like it doesn't, in Ruthless Boys, the first scene was her fighting somebody. So
yeah, it started off aggressive, like bang in your face. There's a lot of we'll have the suggested reading order at the end, but there is a lot of like back and forth about what you should read first. I personally think the way that we do it is the best way, because even though it's not as much world building, I don't know, the continuity part
just of the timeline, yeah.
The continuity part of it makes a big difference to me. So like, I don't know. So me and Jazz kind of talked about this already, so I'm sorry. But who is your favorite twin, Ricki?
So we did talk about it, and I know who your least favorite is.
However,
I don't think I have a favorite. I think they both have things that irk me. I think they both have things that I appreciate about them. I just think that in their dynamic, both of them read off of each other and their pros and cons to both individuals. I feel like Tori is very in your face and she's super confident in things, and those are things I admire about her. But on the other side, I feel like Darcy kind of levels her out. She's not as hot-headed, so I like both of them for different reasons, though.
I do think they're a good pairing. Now, I might have like a least favorite, but I understand their yin and their yang. I just kind of don't prefer yin. That's it. As we go into Solaria, there's like some things that I feel like that are consistent across the board. Everybody gets their elemental power based off their astrological sign. One of the biggest differences, in my opinion, for Ruthless Boys and Zodiac Academy is like when I started reading this specific world and series, I started in Zodiac Academy. So I didn't realize the power dynamic with having more than one element until I went back and did Ruthless Boys, and I was like, oh, they really are like, they're a big deal. Like, because they were like, well, it's rare for people to have two. It's really rare for people to have three. Nobody has four. So I was like, like they just never came across somebody with four. I didn't realize that like the two was super rare to begin with. I think if I was an heir, I would be really concerned too if I was over here like, I'm the one, and then I found out I'm the four. Like I'm the four, not the one. Yeah. I have a question for you that I asked Jess. Who's your favorite heir?
Well, at the beginning, it's Caleb.
At least because he's conflicted about their treatment of the twins.
Yeah, I feel like Caleb is really just going with the flow because he has to. And he's the only one that we see at this point that is conflicted like that. Like we see that it's because he's being forced to do this because this is what expected of him. He really doesn't want to be like mean to people or bad to people. And you can see that constantly throughout the first book. And even him holding them accountable, like, hey, guys, we don't have to be this ruthless. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think one of the things that that really upset me when I was reading Zodiac Academy the first time and this time is how adamant the twins were several times that we just want some money. We don't care about this throne, and they weren't heard. Because I get the like Fae fight for their place, blah blah, but I didn't understand why they were being forced to fight for something when they were just like, oh, it's not worth the fight. Like, well, why was it being put on them that way when they were just like, we don't even care? Yeah. They didn't, I mean, even when they were talking to, my favorite character is Geraldine. Even when they were talking to Geraldine in the ass club. Yeah. They were like, yo, I'm not a princess. I'm just Tori. I'm Darcy. Oh, I have been wanting to say this for forever. Their given names are atrocious. And
why did everybody, I won't say regular, but why did everybody else get like a Darius, Geraldine,
Geraldine is old as hell, but continue.
But then they get Gwendolina and Roxania.
Look, Roxy is a cute nickname, though.
Roxy is a cute nickname. Yeah. But it's just the fact that which I do understand also that they were supposedly like Hispanic, right? Yeah, I think
that's where the Vega came from. Yeah.
What else did I want to talk to you about?
Okay. Wait, y'all didn't tell me y'all favorite heirs.
Oh, my favorite? I don't have one. I thought about this. I don't have one.
I can agree that Caleb is like started out as my favorite, but I think I like Darius.
Yeah. It sounds like she has that thing that you say I have.
Which is what?
A type. She told me recently she didn't like Ryder at first, but she said by the end of the book she actually
was my favorite.
Yeah.
Well, I started out liking Ryder, but I liked him for different reasons. It wasn't, and I also feel like Ryder in Ruthless Boys was one of the only ones that wasn't like trying to make her be submissive. You know what I mean by that? Besides Leon, of course. But even though he was such a bad boy and he was hard to everybody else, he wasn't to Elise. Where in this book, I don't feel like Darius was the same way towards her. He was very much so.
He was definitely trying to like scare her, like scare her into leaving. I still think that Leon is my favorite ruthless boy, but Ryder is still like, chef's kiss. He's perfect. Like nothing he really does is wrong. But I also think one of the biggest like reasons that we all like him is because he had just as much on the line as everybody else, but he like almost, other than Leon, because I don't feel like Leon had as much on the line. That's why it was easier for him to do everything. But he immediately was like, yeah, I want to be with you. So whatevs, let's do it. Yeah. It also kind of like speaks to how starved for affection that he was in his day-to-day life. Yeah. I have another question for you both. The name of this book, obviously, is Zodiac Academy, but it's The Awakening. How do you feel like the title ties in with what's going on in the story?
So the first time reading it around, I just strictly thought the awakening had to do with when they first get to Solaria, because they started out like, I won't say on Earth, but in the human world. And so then they get to Solaria and they're initially awakening their powers. But reading this a second time, it had a deeper meaning to me because it was more about them and their own transformation and becoming just women and fae. Because had they just turned 18 at this point, like a couple weeks ago?
Mhm.
They had just turned 18.
I don't think
they're
they
just now getting into.
I think they had turned 18, and I know this because of one of the other books we're going to read later. They turned 18 and they started to give off a magical signature. But they are 18 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I just took it as them coming into themselves also, not just into their powers, but into themselves as individuals as well. And at the same time, they haven't, like when they get to Solaria, they had to fight for their place, but I don't feel like they had to fight for everything. You know, in the human world, they were orphans. You know, they were going in the foster care system from house to house. They had to figure out where their next meal was going to come from, all kind of stuff. They at least don't have that part to worry about at this point. So I thought it had a deeper meaning the second time around and reading more in depth than I was the first time around.
What about you? What do you think about the awakening as a title?
Yeah, well, as me reading it for my first time, like I can agree for sure. Like I just thought it was them coming into their powers, having 4 elements, which is crazy. And then, but them being here and like not having to fight for everything. They got their own rooms, bathrooms, don't have to share anything, everything. And then just like a whole new world. And they have their inheritance. So now they have like money, they can do more things and be a part of more.
Speaking of money, when Darius burnt Tori's clothes and all her money was there, I don't know why, like reading it the second time, it's like, that really sucks. They went through hell and hot water for all that money, and they don't even, it was very much a rich person thing to do. Like, she wasn't even upset about the clothes, because you know what I thought, like I feel like this isn't a spoiler too. Tori wears boots a lot throughout this series, as most female main characters do in most series. But like when she was going through her trial and her boot was melting or whatever, she was like, these are my favorite boots and stuff. Like I would imagine it's so much harder to part with things that like are your favorite when you have less too. And so like all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think the awakening was on brand. I agree with both of you that it was like a very much coming into their own, and not even just like what you guys said, coming into their fae world and but learning what it means to be fae. Because I think part of them was still human, like not necessarily human in the, like obviously not biologically, but like, very much in the thought process. So if we ignore it long enough, they'll leave us alone. If I take the high road, or maybe if I'm mean back to you one time, you'll get it. Like, I don't think I think they were trying to conform and stand out in the wrong spots, if that makes sense. So I think the awakening was kind of figuring out that like what we did to survive isn't what we know to be able to do to survive isn't going to work in this environment. Right. I talked to Jazz about this, but I want to talk to you about it. The way Orion starts all his lessons has to be the funniest thing in the world. Like, you are not special. Like,
and I don't think I realized that the first read around, but this time I did.
It's hilarious. I love it.
And if you compare like his teaching method to Titan, Titan was teaching them. They were learning, they were doing potions and stuff. I don't think they were in Cardinal Magic and Ruthless Boys, but like, isn't it funny just to compare the teaching styles of everything? Like Titan's like half scary and Orion's like, I dare you to fight. Like even the whole like biting Tori and Caleb getting mad and coming to class and he's like, I got more power than you. Orion's like, okay, I don't care. I just won't bite her no more. Like, I'll bite Darcy. He should be scared. Yeah, like he should be scared of him because he's an heir with more power and he's more like, whatever, I'll just fix it. Like, and you can't do nothing about it. Like, it's the funniest thing ever.
I think that's why I like Orion so much, because he just does not care. Like he's gonna do what he wants to do, and like he doesn't care what the heirs say. He doesn't care what Tori and Darcy say. Like he doesn't care what Principal says. Principal doesn't say anything, but still.
I know Principal Nova the Grey Shine. At least she kind of like, I don't know. I feel like
she's around more. Like
I feel like she actually kind of likes Tori and Darcy. I have a question for you, Jazz, especially since you are a first-time reader. What were your expectations going into the book, and like how did it match up to what you were expecting, or did it not at all?
Well, I didn't expect at all for it to like start off like, fresh start, like, them in Chicago and now coming to Faye. Like I like that. I like that a lot. I guess I kind of expected like the heirs to be like the guys in like the kings in Ruthless Boys, but they're not really, because like they have their own things going on, you know what I'm saying? Like they're fighting more, and like Ruthless Boys, they were fighting. Like Dante had his family and he had all that, and Leon was just Leon. And Ryder, like he was the king still of what's his gang called?
The lunar.
Yeah, the lunar.
Mm-hmm.
But like no, they're also fighting to like claim the throne that not that's necessarily theirs, but like they want it, and like they're a lot. I feel like they're ruthless. Like they don't care.
Like the story is supposed to be marketed as a bully romance. I remember the first time reading it being like, dang, like, okay, they said they didn't want it. Like, like, why are we doing all of this? Like,
I don't know. Yeah.
What were your expectations going into this as a second read, Ricki?
I don't know if I felt away at all when I went into it, but so I don't know if I had expectations starting over. But I do feel like me reading it this time, I picked up on a lot of like foreshadowing that I didn't expect to. Because, we've already read this. We've talked about it. We've watched other people talk about it. So I felt like we knew the ins and outs of this book. But there's a lot of stuff that I did not pick up on the first time around. And I will say that was unexpected for me. There's a lot of stuff that it's like if you pay attention, you can see where it's going to go.
Yes. You know what? Jazz asked me a question earlier today and I totally did not give her an answer. She was asking about Fallen Star.
I need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I said, is Falling Star, like, is he the same that he was for Orion? Like, is that the same? Are they the same person?
Not Orion.
I mean, Gabriel.
Yeah.
I was like, are they the same person?
And I told her I don't know.
I need to know.
Yeah, we have to.
I need to know.
You definitely have to keep reading. It's
that's always your answer.
It's always my answer because I feel like specifically with not Solaria, I'm gonna say with Zodiac Academy, there's always so many moving pieces and so many like underlying storylines that like I can't even give you answers without spoiling somebody else's storyline. Like it's so much. Like as I read this series, like obviously this is like my second or third time going through this series. As I read this series, I promise you every time I forget the first three books once we get to about book 4 through 9, like the other 3 don't even really matter anymore to me. Because so much happens. Do you feel the same way, Ricki?
Yeah, because the first 3 really are just trying to get you introduced to the world, to orders, like to what everything means. Where the rest of it really is when the story is truly unfolding, if that makes sense. Like what's really going on behind the scenes, you get to see, and you don't get to see that until probably, I would say, the end of book 3. You get to see a little bit more of that, but otherwise, all you're seeing are these people and their personalities, and like I said, getting to know how Solaria runs. And so you really do. It's just like, well, that part doesn't even really matter anymore.
So, a fun fact: Ricki hasn't read the novella, so she'll be reading those the first time too. So she'll be where you're at sometimes. Like, oh, I didn't know that. And obviously, the novellas give like a little bit more context, or not context for the story. So,
and that's after book 3, right?
So one of them, we have a lot of novellas to look at. We have a lot of novellas to look at, and I'm part of me not finishing the suggested reading order or doing it and thinking I'm gonna have to change it is one of the novellas actually has like bits and pieces from other stories, so I don't know if it's gonna be good to just do like this one chapter after this one, or like that's why I read everything after the fact. It was a little crazy. Like some of those are novellas on the books there. Crazy, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of books.
Okay, so what else Jazz told me that I thought was pretty funny? I was asking her opinion on characters, so I think you'll figure it out. What I'm saying is funny, but I don't want to ruin anything for her, so I'm not going to say it. But like, tell me what you think of all the characters that you've been introduced to now, from the heirs to the friends, just like nothing big, just like what you think of Geraldine, what you think of Diego, what you think of Sophia, what you think of the teachers, whatever.
Like I said, I like Orion. The principal, I don't really know much about her yet, but she seems cool. Sophia, she's super cool. I like Sophia. She's the chill friend. And I like that a lot. Diego, he's cool, but I don't know. I want to know more about him because he seems like he likes Darcy too, but like I know that he likes Sophia. So I want to know more about Diego. The heirs, I have my feelings about all of them. Max is crazy. Seth is even crazier. Caleb, like you said, he's like kind of in the middle. So like, I don't like hate him or like love him, but like he's just there, you know? Darius, I like Darius.
I think you heard it. I think you heard it, Ricki. I picked up on a cue.
You and Simo.
Yep. I think I heard it. We're not telling you anything.
No.
but it comes out soon. So you'll see.
You'll see.
Yeah.
Hey, she's about where you are. So I think you said you've already finished 2, right? Book 2.
I actually finished 3.
Yeah, she's finished. She's finishing 2. She's about 200 pages from 2 being done.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm over here floating in the sand.
Yeah, you're just.
I'll catch up. But I guess we could talk a little bit more about the plot. So the twins get there and they're not received well, from Darius burning off Tori's clothes to Milton posting her butt on Facebook. That'll forever be funny. Facebook.
Yeah.
Then we have Darcy with Seth basically throwing her off the top of a building. Diego being picked on by Orion repeatedly. Tyler always getting on Orion's nerves. Kylie being what she said. Cindy Pooh 2.0. Marguerite being like, I also want to note that Marguerite kind of noticed that like Kylie is upset, but I don't think she's pinpoint that there's like attraction. She just doesn't want there to be attraction. Marguerite feels more like, no, I see this happening and I don't like it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I see something there and I'm not allowing it. Okay, so what did you think about the night they had their little truce at the bar? And everybody was like dancing together. And I wouldn't have drunk anything from them at all.
No, they were crazy for that. But I thought it was really funny when they were like, no, we're going to go inside and we're going to go dance now. And then, so they go to try to like find the like 2 other guys or whatever. And then I think it was Max and Caleb. And they were like, no, you're not dancing with us.
Yeah, just like interrupting their whole dance.
Like, dang, okay.
You know what threw me off? Darcy going to the bathroom and Orion going in there like, what did you hear?
No.
And she's like,
whoa, why did you do
that?
What do you mean? No, literally.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Sophia drinking like so much, Diego had to take her home.
Yeah, crazy. What do you think about Geraldine getting attacked? Because Geraldine at this point is bothersome. I don't feel like this is a spoiler, so I'm just going to say it. She eventually becomes like besties for the resties with them. And I feel like specifically in this book, she's much more annoying than she is in the other books. And that's probably because that's how the twins feel. So we're feeling that too.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I want Geraldine to be besties with them because like she's so loyal and she's so funny. Like, I think the twins need that, you know, like, especially with all that's going on with the heirs, like, all the drama, all the craziness.
And she's the same age as the heirs, so, like, she knows.
Oh, really? I didn't think I knew that.
Yeah, she knows more than them.
She's a sophomore? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I thought she was a freshman, so.
She's the same age as them. But also, okay, so something that I thought was crazy, and you guys are, you know, give your own opinions. When Darcy decided to go to the dance with Seth, it never made sense. No. He had been opting her out the whole time. It never made sense. So when she went and he ended up cutting her hair off, which, by the way, I did tell Jazz that Darcy is normally on the lesser receiving end. Don't care what you say about it.
I was just going to say that, actually.
Yeah, like
I feel like her big plan versus Tori's big plan were totally different. Because Tori almost died. I mean, I understand that the hair cutting emotionally may have wrecked her, but in both situations, it wasn't just a heartbreak. Tori almost died in both situations, you know?
Yeah, she's always about to die. And also like not to spoil too much of 2, but it is kind of frustrating that Darcy is so frustrated with her hair as if she doesn't have magic. It's like the craziest thing to me. Like you wouldn't just see if that was an option, instead of somebody telling you. Yeah. Especially when everybody's banned from telling you that there might be a solution. Like to me that would almost trigger let me go research it.
Yeah.
But
I don't think that it was like her not seeing that there may be an option. I think it was just like she felt hopeless and not know where to even start to look for that. Because I think that obviously, they send out the text that said anybody that helps or whatever. She obviously knows there is a way, but where do I even begin to look for that? Because if they're telling people not to help me, I feel like back in my 33-year-old mind, maybe I would have thought that. But in my 18-year-old mind, I probably would have felt the same way.
Devastated.
Yeah.
We talked about Tori almost dying twice. Did you want to go over what those incidents look like? We talked about Darcy's hair, so I think it might be good to lay out both incidents of Tori almost dying.
So first of all, Max is a siren, and siren have the ability to bring out emotions in you. They can do so by either like a song or they can do so by physical touch. And I believe that he touched both of them and were able to bring out what their biggest like fears and regrets were. And Tori's was an accident that she got in with her ex-boyfriend back in the human world, where their car went off the road and went into a body of water. So she's never liked large bodies of water. And in the real scenario, she was actually stuck under the body of water. The boyfriend got out and left her in there. So I don't even know how she ended up getting out. I don't know if that's is it revealed? Okay. So someone came and helped her get out, but she really thought that he was just going to leave her there and that she was going to die. So fast forward at the end of the book, we see that the heirs use that Max has gotten out of her against her, and basically they don't really lure her, but they make her go to this pool.
I can never say the word.
Coercion.
Yeah,
coercion. Yeah, they use coercion to make her go to this pool. I don't know how deep the pool is, but it really doesn't matter because this is something that's like, yeah. I didn't remember, and for me, jumping in something like, I've gone cliff diving and everything. That's not a big deal for me, but knowing that she has that fear, that was obviously a big deal. But also, then they iced it over, so there was no way of her trying to get out anyway. So.
And they had everybody watching. So I think that would intensify, especially in her scenario where like she was saved before, having people watch you drown is a whole, a whole thing.
Like she didn't see anybody that would have helped her. Like if she didn't scream, then who knows,
And maybe that's part of, retrospectively, not that I'm ever on Darcy's side. I don't want to ever get that confused. But maybe that's part of what Darcy's plan, torture is too, to not be able to help Tori with something that she knows is so big. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like such a big trigger for her. Oh, you know what I didn't ask you about? You didn't tell me what you thought of Washer. He is like
creep. Creep. Oh my gosh. No. Everything about that man needs to go. Like he needs to be fired. Why is he still
But tell me again the creepy guy that was in Toothless is at it again, y'all. I swear she hears my voice. What was the creepy one that was in Ruthless Boys though? Because there was one that was like equivalent to Washer.
There's a creepy one in Zodiac?
Oh, I can't think of who it is. Or are you thinking of Darkmoor?
Oh, Darkmoor. So we haven't gotten there yet. Okay, but I feel like Washer's worse because of the position that he's in. So when we get to Darkmoor, we'll revisit that. But I do feel like, because obviously Darkmoor Penitentiary is about people that are in prison. But Washer is supposed to be somebody guiding these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or like being a snack for them. Crazy. Yeah. Insane.
Yeah.
You are a teacher. Like, why are you making people wear these like super crazy like bathing suits to class and like using your powers to like draw emotions and just say gross things? No, thank you.
Okay, he always has,
and
like,
he never gets better. So
always some weird innuendo. Yeah. Like it's like, okay, bro, kind of crazy. I'm gonna let you go first so we don't spoil anything. Do you have like predictions moving forward?
I think that Darcy and Orion are going to be a thing because, Darcy and Orion, just because of like the things they got going on, like the chemistry there.
You told me you thought
Tori and Darius.
yeah,
I
but
think that's
how
something, too.
do you think that, if that was the case, how do you think that plays out with Caleb and her having?
That's what I was thinking of too, because I was like, is she gonna have to choose like between Darius and Caleb? And if so, like, is she gonna choose, or is it gonna be like a Lee situation and like she got both of them? You know?
Or you got to keep reading.
So there's that, and then I was trying to figure out like if the heir, like, you know how they had to claim the throne, like, is it gonna be once Tori and Darcy graduate because they are younger than the heirs, so like they're graduating after, like, what are the heirs gonna do in that year that like Tori and Darcy are still in school? So I was trying to figure that out. But
You had another one too, the orders. Their orders, because you don't know that.
Yes, I don't know. I want to know what their orders are so bad. I feel like Darcy might be a vampire just because she hates vampires so much, and like how they like, you know, like Orion is like sucking the blood out of her and Caleb sucking the blood out of Tori. I feel like she might be a vampire just because that'd be like super ironic and kind of crazy. And then I thought that Tori would be a dragon, but like I don't know if she would be a dragon just because, you know, like the bloodlines and how like it's really just like the Acrux. Yeah, that family. So I don't know. Those are my.
It's not just that
things.
family though, because Dante is the one.
I know, but he was random.
Dragon.
Yeah, he was.
He
random.
doesn't breathe. You know, random, but just rereading Ruthless Boys, I didn't realize Dante didn't breathe fire.
I did the first time around, but I did not when we meet him in Zodiac Academy, because we do meet him at some point. I didn't know that then, but when I went back and read Ruthless Boys, I felt like that was it.
He is the only living storm dragon.
Are there other types of dragons?
I mean, the Condarius and his dad are.
The fire breathing ones?
Yeah.
Oh, but like, what else? I want to know.
I don't. You have to ask the sisters. I don't write the books. I just read them.
No.
I also told her that Kylie was a Medusa because I thought that was funny.
Yes.
For
a second, I thought Diego was, because he was always wearing that beanie, and I was like, is he trying to like cover up his hair or something, like, you know? But he wasn't. Yeah. He doesn't know what his word is.
It's Ricki, this is like between you and I, but like obviously Jazz here. It's funny hearing people who have just started come up with theories, like, you know, and seeing like where they're right and where they're wrong, or like stuff that like I never connected that she's connecting that you're right or wrong about.
And you won't tell me.
I won't tell you. I won't tell you. Overall, as a first book in the series, this is for both of you. How do you feel like The Awakening did for the series? Like, how do you feel like it is as a first book, an introductory into the conflict, the people, the world?
I like it. I think it's a good start, a good way to dive into personalities, everybody, how they mingle with each other, all the things. I think it's a good start.
So I feel like had I started reading these books when they were first written, it would have driven me crazy. But because I read them after the first, 7 had come out, maybe, I was able to keep going, because it's not a slow start in the point of me not wanting to continue, but it is slow enough to where I can understand why some people drop off, because we don't see anything big happen until the end. All of it right now is just these conversations going on, and yes, there's a bully, but like, what's really going on? So what kept me going is knowing that I had the next book to read already. So I don't know if I would have been able to wait however many months it was until book 2 came out, had I started back then.
Yeah. I think when I read it, it was 7 books too. So I was actually excited about having a series that was so close to done, and only one book I was only gonna have to wait for one book to come out. Jokes on me, that was not the case. Yeah. But at the time I was really excited about that.
If I had to start with just one book, I'd be kind of sad too. I'd be upset.
Yeah.
Now I'm not waiting.
I liked Never Keep a Lot, you guys. But I'm also gonna tell you, don't do that, because it is some world, because obviously, when we're world building in Solaria, because you read Ruthless Boys, you have an idea of what the rules are for the world, how Fae interact with each other, how Fae fight for their place, blah, blah, blah. We understand that this all happens in Solaria. For Neverkeep, they're in the Waning Lands, which I don't have a map of. I wish I did. They didn't give us one. It's not even one. So I feel like there's going to be some map-related important thing that comes out later. Reestablishing what the rules are is a whole different thing. It is like a lot of building. And what is the main character in Neverkeep is a succubus. and it is not like sin in the way you remember him. So like that's kind of it was kind of cool to see. Sorry you're not there yet. But
I know I'm not. It's okay. We'll do it. I'll figure it out soon.
I don't think I have too much extra. Did you have questions for us, Jazz? What we're doing
that we can answer.
I know, like you guys aren't gonna I don't know. Well, okay. So you said that Tashee said that I should start with 1 through 3 and then do the novellas and things like that. Do you agree with that?
She hasn't read novellas.
So I haven't read the novellas. And the thing with the novellas is I would have done it differently if I'm just reading the description of it. But Tashee's actually read them for context to see what may be revealed that we don't want to be revealed yet if we're going in chronological order.
Because I personally think like we have the origins of the Academy bully. They kind of, you asked me like what happened to Orion between those 5 years. It's actually kind of like specified in that book of like what happened in between that time. But also we have the awakening again, like this book from the boys' perspective.
Oh, good. I like that.
So like, I think there's a time to insert those because I feel like it kind of taints the experience to insert certain books in there because like, I don't know about you, but like for me, reading is a lot of feeling too. You know what I'm saying? Like by the end of book 1, I think we can all collectively agree that we're like, F those heirs, you know? Like forget them. I want the twins to win just because they suck so bad. You know what I mean? Like, even though
I don't know who I want to take the throne.
Yeah, because I mean, like, let's be honest, Tori and Darcy don't know that world.
They don't need to.
You know, like it's like even a 5-year-old like presidency and being like, fix the problem.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Yeah.
You know, the problems that people are having. But I also think that they're great candidates for some stuff because what we hear a lot in Ruthless Boys is how much illustrious sucks.
Yeah.
And that's something they've actually had to live. So, but also the heirs have been preparing for this their whole life. I mean, the issue is who has been preparing them. Not like their parents are bad people, but in what ways have they been being prepared?
Yeah.
Who do you think is a bad person?
The Dragon Lord.
Why do you think that? Because of how
crazy.
Just because of your Ruthless Boys days?
Yeah. It's just crazy. I don't know. I feel like one of my predictions is that I don't think that he would let like the other heirs be part of it. Like I feel like somehow he would try to take that away from them and like have it just be his family and have it just be Darius. That's one of my predictions. Because he's just that crazy. Like he just wants all the power. He just wants all the power. And I don't know. That's something I think would happen.
Okay.
Girl, I don't
I'm just
I like though that she's being observant because I don't feel like when I first read it I was. I said, I was just reading. I wasn't reading to like figure anything out. But this time around, and it's crazy because this time around I already know what happens. But there's still a lot that I pick up on now that I didn't at first. Like there's a part where Orion is telling Darcy that you need to pay attention to what your power responds to.
And I've been noticing.
And then, but you see Tori paying attention to that naturally, like seeing how her power does or does not go out when everybody else's does. And, you know, obviously we don't know what order they're going to be or even what feeds these orders yet. We're just now learning all those things. But the fact that nobody was paying attention to the fact that they're not necessarily getting tired in the same way other ones are and things like that. Like those things I didn't pay attention to in the beginning. And I feel like Jazz actually is paying attention to some of those things.
You know, she said sometimes. You know, one of the things I found interesting too was Orion doing the assessment on their hands. I paid attention before, but the assessments where they were strongest, like what their stronger things were like almost in exactly reversed. You know, type of way. Like,
I know Tori's is fire, right? Like,
but then it's like water and she's terrified. I think it would have been like beautifully poetic if she would have been strongest in water. But you know, like, and then it's like water next and then earth and then air. And Tori's is like, or Darcy's is like air, earth, and fire is her lowest. So water in between.
That's on the chapters. Like I noticed it because when I first started reading it, I saw that like each element like was above it and like in the order. But I didn't know if it meant anything at first. And then I read that and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah. Hey, that's something I don't. Did you notice that? Because I didn't notice that when I read them either. So like you just pointed something out to us.
Like they're moved, like I
honestly. I don't think I started paying attention into the little symbols at the top until we see Lionel's penis at some point.
Yeah,
We see little penises, and it becomes a thing. Like even in the group that we follow for the authors, it's just the thing that's mentioned all the time.
Too young for Facebook. So, she won't get on. She has one friend. She won't be on Facebook. I tried to convince her because we were talking about like book conference stuff. But yeah, because she asked me when will they be like signing books and stuff, and I was telling her about me going to BB4E in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And she was like, I only got one friend on Facebook. I was like, you just gotta follow the Facebook groups and they post about it. But
I don't follow anybody on Facebook. Like, I got one. It's okay.
But I think it's kind of cool that you're pointing out stuff that we still haven't noticed. You know, like so much.
I know, but I like hearing what you guys noticed too, because like I'm like, oh really? Like I mean, Geraldine is a sophomore. I didn't even pick that up.
I think that comes later in the series, but I don't think it's like a spoiler type thing. I think it's because of like once you figure out who's on the pitball team, that kind of stuff. I think that's why.
And I don't feel like we learned very much about Geraldine in book 1 anyway, besides the fact that she is obviously a Vega supporter. Yeah.
Wait. Do most freshmen have their powers already?
Like, the awakening thing was for all freshmen.
No, right. But do they have their orders?
It depends on your order. I think
because I know Sophia does already, which is like
some orders emerge early. So if I recall correctly, I think Seth said he emerged like 7 or 8 or something like that. Yeah, and Darius emerged like 13.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, so like I think it kind of depends on what you are, because vampires don't emerge until they're awoken or awaken.
Okay.
Awoken. Yeah. Awaken. Okay, so listen, we were last weekend we were playing Monopoly Go with my other cousin in town, and I was staring at her, and Jess was like, "Why are you looking at her?" I was like, "I'm just trying to figure out what her order would be." So I think we should all discuss what our orders are. What do you think your order would be?
What I would be and what I would want to be are two different things, I feel like.
Or can you even say what the order is without spoiling anything for Jazz?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
What I would want to be is a dragon, not because of dragons in this story, but because I just historically think that they're amazing. What I feel like I would be, because I don't feel like I have the characteristics of the dragons in Solaria, like wanting to be solidary and like wanting to exude power on everybody. Like, I don't feel like that's me. I don't know what I would be as like for the orders that we know. Because I don't want to be a lioness and be in a harem either. So I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know. A siren.
You think you should be a siren? I think that was the order that I would choose to be a siren if I could.
I think you said I would be a siren.
I think you could be a siren too.
I take that back. I think I know what. No, I take that back. I don't know. I'm lost.
We should find some quiz and come back to the conclusion of what we were gonna be. Because I could totally be a Sphinx.
Yeah, we have to find one.
Yeah, like I could totally be a Sphinx too.
I did take a quiz and they said I was gonna be a monitor.
A minotaur?
A minotaur.
I was like, no, I don't.
And they go. You're gonna be like Professor Titan, running in those mazes.
I don't want to run in the mazes.
That's funny.
I think it's funny. Like we come from like historically, like with fantasy books being really into vampires and werewolves, and those are not even like on the table. Like for options that any of the three of us picked.
Yeah.
No.
Although I do see, I feel like I could be a vampire. Just because I do like
you bloodsucker.
I like to be alone, but I like to.
There's other solitary orders. I also think that being a dragon would kind of suck.
Really?
Yeah, because like
why?
Just power replenishing wise.
Oh, gold.
Oh well, yeah. In this story, for sure.
You're like but that's my only real reason for thinking.
So for the option of power replenishing, I was actually going to say harpy, but again, I don't feel like I'm a solitary person. I'm a person that doesn't like all people, but I still need my people. You know what I mean?
I think harpies are like that though, because it goes back to the like Gabriel being protective of the nest and stuff and having to protect over them. And even with lions, by the way, because I know you said you wouldn't do it because of the whole harem situation. I think the point is to build a pride, and I don't necessarily think that building a pride means that you have to be in a harem. It might be a whole bunch of kids, and I'm just saying that you have kids and a whole bunch of animals, and those are basically kids, so it kind of tracks.
That's crazy.
I was gonna say for the nurturing because with
That's
the
what I was
wolves in
thinking,
this
like,
story, yeah. The with the wolves in this story, because that would have been my second choice, but they're just so like want to touch everybody and huggy and licking your face and like that.
Yeah, that's not me.
You know what? That is a fair point, because sometimes I'm like, no,
yeah,
ain't no way I'm playing. But I feel like we meet a couple of people that are better off solitary, that are like werewolves. Specifically, Rosa is one of those people. She's always kind of, like, yeah, you can touch me, but sometimes you see her fight back about it. So I don't think I have anything else. Ricki, did you have any questions?
I don't think so. It's exciting, like I said, to see Jazz and how she's dissecting some of the things and trying to figure out what's happening next. Because there are some books that I go into like that, but this was not one of them initially. So that's exciting to see.
Did you have any questions that we can answer, Boo?
No more.
We posted the suggested reading order. This is open to edits and changes. Things can change super fast for us. We want to thank everybody for showing up and paying attention to us. Oh, I'm supposed to give a shout out. I met a lady on an Uber ride the other night. Her name is Ann. She was like super nice, and she was like, just give me a shout out. So hi, Ann. Thank you for watching. Wait, we didn't talk about something important. I'm so sorry. Freaking Professor Ashram dying. And being burnt up and them getting the weird card.
Oh,
yeah.
Who didn't do that? It's like, how did we miss that? Yeah. Ricki, what was your I guess I actually asked.
We talked about the whole falling star thing too.
Yeah, like how did you feel about him dying as soon as they found him?
No, I hated that. I want more. I wanted more. Tell us more. And then he died, and I'm like, wait, no. And then the card, it's just so like mysterious and blah. Wait, and then didn't he tell us he got the cards from like their mom?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I don't know. I feel like that's something to go on. Like is the card from their mom too? Like is that one of them? Is that one from that deck? And then I don't know. I wanted more. I'm sad he died.
Yeah, it's like the only person with answers for their parents is like.
Oh, and then he said what your answers lie in Libra and Leo, which is Darius and Orion, which is crazy because he didn't like them. So I'm confused. Is it the other ones? What other ones were there? What other Leos and
I don't know.
Libra are significant?
I don't really. If they're not main characters, I don't remember their sign. Don't
like,
forget me. But like, I think that I don't know when he gave them that feedback, if it was like for a specific situation or overall. I think before they could even clarify what he meant, he was gone. The only person that seemed openly willing to give them answers outside of Geraldine was dead.
And then who helped the what is it called? The crazy people with the prongs.
Oh, the nymphs?
Yeah, those things. Who helped them get in? And was it a student? Like, I want to know. Those things I need to know.
Why do you think a student and not a teacher?
Oh, dang! I don't know.
You just went to student. That was your first thought. Yeah. Okay, so now I think we're at the end because we talked about all the big things. We'll be back with book 2 soon. To go over everything, but don't forget to like us, subscribe. Like I said, we have the suggested reading order available, but we might change that should we need to. But it has been too literal. You guys have a good day. Bye.